Good morning, Awaken Takers. How are we doing? I say good morning because this will be going live in the morning, but full disclosure, the Tuesday, September 9th episode and the Thursday, September 11th episode are both going to be pre-recorded. Schedule got a little bit crazy, got a little bit wonky here, but I still wanted to get the content out. So I am pre-recording today's episode. This is being recorded right now on Monday during the Monday Night Football game. So apologies for not having that analysis there, and apologies for not being able to answer your guys' questions in the chat live. But next week, back to full live schedule, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 a.m. Eastern as always. Got a ton of news, a ton to digest here. I mean, week one, crazy as ever, wonky as ever, just blah. A lot of sloppy football and a lot of good football. So it's really hard to kind of digest and see what matters, what doesn't matter, where are we panicking. And that's what I'm here for today. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of break down some offenses that we got a little bit more clarity on, some situations we got some clarity on that we talked about on Thursday, and also some offenses that looked bad, that looked rough, and whether we should be panicking or not yet. As always, please be sure to follow me on X, Twitter, TikTok at JOwens_FF. I think over on TikTok it's just JOwensFF. Be sure to follow the Player Profiler Now page on all of those platforms as well. Profiler Now, Profiler_Now. And make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel so that you can catch all of the content that comes out on a daily basis. We even got some shows coming out on Sundays for the tailgate. It's a lot of good stuff coming out, and a lot of fun people on the show. So be sure to subscribe to make sure that you're keeping up with everything that's going on. I mean, we're in full swing here. Week one, like I said, what a doozy, man. Oh my God. Island games did not disappoint, at least, like I said, recording right now in the middle of Monday Night Football. That one's kind of a little bit of a snooze fest. JJ McCarthy looking not so great, but you never know. But Sunday Night Football game, an absolute instant classic, 41-40, last second finish. Bills coming back to beat the Baltimore Ravens. That was a game. I mean, King Henry doing King Henry things. Lamar and Josh Allen just going absolutely nuclear. And my boy Keon Coleman showing that he might be ready for that year two leap. I'm not going to say that, it's a lock right now because obviously the game situation called for that type of volume. We don't know what we're going to see in regular games with the Bills. Who knows? This could just be the norm for the Bills this year. I don't think so. I don't think they're going to be going up against the firepower of the Baltimore Ravens every week to push them to that level. But, I think that we're going to see a lot more high scoring DGAF Josh Allen this year. And I mean, Baltimore being Baltimore, they're doing what they're doing, where they know how to blow a lead late and they just continue to do it, but they put up fantasy points in the meantime. So I'm not going to complain there. I love seeing that. Just going to jump right into everything here. Like I said, I got a lot to go through, so I want to keep this as tight as possible and pick up anything that I missed on the Thursday show. But I had my first espresso shot last Thursday. As you all remember, I made a call, bold prediction for a guy that I'm seeing too low in the weekly rankings that I think should be much higher. My week one, it was Travis Hunter. I said he was going to be a top 15 wide receiver, and the results were not great. They did not get me there. The espresso shot did not hit. It didn't get that caffeine into the blood flow quite the way I wanted it to. But there is a silver lining here. It wasn't that bad when you look at the underlying metrics, when you look at the game as a whole. I thought this was going to be an absolute shootout. I thought that Carolina was going to put up a fight, and it looks like we got Bryce Young from early 2024 back out there, who just looks like a deer in the headlights, just looking terrible out there. No offensive line help. The only bright spot really was, I mean, we had Chuba Hubbard doing Chuba Hubbard things. He hasn't missed a beat since last season, just doing the same thing, getting his work all over the place, just being the rock of this offense that they desperately need. And then Teteroa McMillan looked good. Like he obviously didn't get help from Bryce Young, but he looked good. But unfortunately, like I said, it did not help my Travis Hunter take, who I expected this to be a competitive game, a game where they went back and forth, but Jacksonville just jumped on him early, and Travis Etienne, who we'll talk about a little bit later, is just the star of the show in Jacksonville right now, just absolutely took over 140 something yards on the ground, dominated the backfield, dominated the Carolina Panthers, and just did not let this passing game have any flow to it. There was also a 1.5 hour weather delay again on week one that kind of just completely kiboshed any excitement there. So not exactly what I expected. But again, taking a look at Travis Hunter himself here, bad results. Wide receiver 47, 6.3 half PPR points, just bad if you're looking at that. But taking a little bit deeper, he ran primarily on the offense. He only played 6 snaps on defense, like barely anything on defense. 84% of the team's routes he was running them. He had the most targets on the team, the most receptions on the team. So he out-targeted Brian Thomas. He out-targeted Brenton Strange. He was the target leader for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he led the team in receptions. It was all close to the line of scrimmage. He was lining up in the slot a lot, so it was a lot. He got fed there, but there was a deep shot taken that T-Law just underthrew him a little bit, and the safety made a great play to break it up. I think it was even an interception on that play. So they're going to take shots with Travis Hunter. They're going to feed him in the slot across the middle, and I think that we're just in for an exciting season here with Travis Hunter. So it didn't hit with my week 1 espresso shot, but don't be shocked if I go back to the well here with Travis Hunter. Don't be afraid if you have him in your leagues to start him in a flex position. He's going to be good. We'll see, because we did get the news that the weekly game plan could change with Travis Hunter's offense versus defense usage, but 84% of the routes run, most targeted wide receiver on the team, most targeted player on the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that it's a promising future here for Travis Hunter in the fantasy football landscape, as well as the NFL landscape. I think he's going to be a special player. And he gave us a little bit of a sneak peek in week 1, but just didn't quite deliver on the stat line. So not afraid of going back to Hunter on my teams in DFS. Again, I think that we might see another espresso shot where I go back to Travis Hunter and I hit. So we'll stick with that. But got a ton of news also to catch up on. Going to try to hit the big injuries here and just kind of give you my waiver wire targets to replace those injuries. Number 1 is going to be George Kittle for the San Francisco 49ers, always just known for dealing with these nagging lower body, ankle, knee, hamstring injuries. And guess what? Week 1, we got another one. We got another George Kittle injury, and it's going to keep him out for a couple of weeks. We don't know. It's rough in these San Francisco streets because, I mean, the stars were aligned for George Kittle to just be a target machine. Like normally he's got the target competition. He had Ayuk, Debo, CMC. He had competition everywhere. The pathway was cleared. The runway was wide open. All he had to do was take off, and he blew a tire. And he blew a tire on the runway, crashed, burned. And right now, early expectation is 2 to 3 weeks from what I saw. But honestly, with these hamstring injuries, especially with a guy like Kittle, who this is just a recurring issue, it could be longer. Prepare for longer if you are a Kittle manager. So, I mean, again, San Francisco in general is down bad with injuries. Jawan Jennings also left this game with a shoulder injury. So really the only people left are Christian McCaffrey and Ricky Pearsall. In your dynasty leagues, your very deep leagues, Jacob Cowing, sure. But really it's looking rough. It's so bad that I'm a little bit concerned in general because of the fact that they went out and they've already signed Kendrick Bourne. He was released from New England late in the offseason, and they're snatching him up. So that means they're preparing for either Jennings and or Kittle to be out for an extended period of time, which it's concerning. Obviously, Brock Purdy was one of my late QB picks as well, because I figured with a consolidated set of weapons, he would be able to deliver still. And right now that consolidation it's 2 guys right now. It's Christian McCaffrey, who saw 32 opportunities, 10 in the air, 22 on the ground. And then Ricky Pearsall, who got 7 targets. Great to see, but if there's no one else around him, I fear that Pearsall's not an elite wide receiver that can be the number one guy that can have the lockdown corner on him and still perform to a high level. I felt like he was going to be a good complementary wide receiver, but now he has to be the dude. So, I mean, at the end of the day, the volume's going to be amazing, but what he does with it is TBD still. And right now, San Francisco is just literally hurting. But I mean, if you drafted Christian McCaffrey, congratulations. Like, you got the entire San Francisco offense to yourself right now. They say every year that I feel like this happens where they want to minimize and manage the workload of Christian McCaffrey. And here we are, week 1, 32 touches. So I don't think they have an option. If they want to win games, they won this game. They beat Seattle. The defense showed out, held Seattle to 13 points, and it was tough sledding. But CMC is this offense right now. Obviously, Kendrick Bourne coming in, potential to be something here, but not anything where I'm running out to go grab him off of the waiver wire. Again, it's Pearsall. They have Kendrick Bourne now. They have Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who, I mean, that's not who I'm looking to put. I'm not looking to put my eggs in that basket there. And Sky Moore, they traded for him also. We're going to have to see someone else step up here with Kittle and Jennings being injured. So keep an eye out for that. Kendrick Bourne is an interesting name. And Valdez-Scantling can be interesting. We've seen him stringing together a couple games, but he's really one of those deep threat kind of guys that's going to give you splash weeks. He's not going to give you consistency. So if you're looking for consistency here, Pearsall's the guy. And that's really it. Kendrick Bourne, worth a flyer, especially in like I said, like the deepest of leagues. He's worth a shot just to see what happens here. But there's other guys that I'm really looking to in a moment here. Another tight end injury that we're dealing with is Brock Bowers. Left his game against the New England Patriots with a knee injury. Right now, there's no official word on severity yet. Pete Carroll on Monday said day-to-day is all that he's going to give us. And I don't know if y'all remember, Pete Carroll was never really one to come out and be a straight shooter with injuries. It was always, I feel like everything was day-to-day. The dude could have had a completely torn ACL and it was day-to-day. So going to keep an eye on the practice reports. Obviously, Bowers might be a guy that doesn't participate in practice all week and then starts anyway. But I would expect at least some type of production drop if that is what he pulls. We could see maybe a 1 to 2 week absence here. So have a contingency plan prepared if you have Brock Bowers. Again, he could start, and obviously Bowers starts, you start him in your fantasy matchup. But do have contingency plans out there. Right now, in the tight end landscape, it's the same thing as always, where the top guys are the top guys, and then everything else is just ugly. You'll have random dudes pop up in the top 5 weekly. This week it was Jawan Johnson with 11 targets. And he is one of my waiver wire targets, especially if I have Kittle or Bowers, or I'm just trying to churn for a tight end spot right now. But right now, my top pick for the Tuesday week 2 waiver wire is Harold Fannin from the Cleveland Browns. I think that he was shockingly the target leader on the Browns. He out-targeted. I feel like Flacco spread it out pretty decently, but it's exactly what we expected in Cleveland. It's Flacco chucking the ball all over the place. Let's see how many pass attempts did he have? 45 pass attempts in week 1. It's what I called. It's what I said was going to happen with Flacco at the helm, and that's why I liked the early season setup for Cleveland. And it kind of sounds like now we might get a little bit more Flacco than we originally expected. Shador Sanders, quote unquote, rumored to not be seeing the field at all in 2025. If they give Flacco the reins all the way through, guys like Judy, guys like Tillman, Njoku, and even Harold Fannin. I mean, 45 targets is enough to go around. Everyone had 7 to 8 targets here. I mean, Dylan Sampson, 8 targets. Someone I'll be talking about later. Cedric Tillman, 8 targets. Judy, 8 targets. Fannin, 9 targets. Njoku, 6 targets. There's going to be enough with Flacco here to feed everybody. And Fannin coming out, rookie tight end. everyone thought that it was Njoku. Njoku's got the rapport with Flacco. He's got the contract. It's been Njoku's show before in this offense. And then Fannin comes out of nowhere and just soaks up these targets. And he looked good. He looked pretty damn good out there. 7 for 63, so nothing crazy. He even got a rushing attempt. Like, this is what you want to see out of a young rookie tight end. I mean, the fact that he's out there getting the snaps alone early is something, but the fact that he's getting the 9 targets on top of it is insane. Obviously, there's the long-term concern if Flacco does get benched because Cleveland wants to see what Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders has. But I think right now, especially if you're looking for a Bowers Kittle fill-in or just backup plan, I think Fannon's the top option out there right now. He's someone that I'm looking to snag, especially in my leagues where I completely punted tight end as well. I think that he's someone that you want to stash and see what you got there, and start him in week 2 if you gotta with a Kittle out. Next up would be Brenton Strange for me. Again, I talked about it with the Travis Hunter espresso shot. There wasn't really the game flow for Jacksonville to be pass heavy. I feel like they want to be pass heavy, but they just didn't need to with ETN running all over Carolina. So Brenton Strange went 4 for 4, fit for 59 yards. So nothing special, nothing that's going to make people like make him a top waiver ad. But I do think that it's promising that he saw that kind of volume and he showed consistency. Like, he was a reliable target for Trevor Lawrence. 59 yards isn't bad for a tight end, and full PPR, that's about 10 points. That's great for a waiver wire pickup tight end that you're looking for. So he's another guy that I'm looking. He showed some flashes in 2024. So someone that I would look to also in that Fannin range. I still got Fannin well above him because, I mean, 9 targets that's crazy for a rookie tight end to be getting. I think that his role will only expand, especially with Cleveland looking the way that they did. So I think in more competitive games, we will see Jacksonville be more pass heavy. And I think that's great for Strange. That's great for Hunter. That's great for Brian Thomas, who had a uncharacteristically bad game, 1 for 7, salvaged it a little bit with a rushing touchdown. But I think that Jacksonville's going to be fine. And I think that Brenton Strange is a good tight end pickup for you here if you're hurting at tight end. Some other safer guys that aren't going to be like this crazy league winning type players, but Juwan Johnson and Hunter Henry, they're both just safe, easy, reliable targets for their quarterbacks. Juwan Johnson had 11 targets. And I talked about it earlier in the offseason when the Spencer Rattler versus Tyler Shuck QB battle was going on. I said that if Rattler is the quarterback, Juwan Johnson's a sneaky, especially in best ball, I was saying he's a sneaky tight end value because Rattler locked onto him last season. Rattler didn't really push the ball a whole lot down the field. He was pretty much Kamara dump off, Juwan Johnson dump off. And I feel like we saw a lot of passing out of New Orleans. I mean, there's a ton of targets out there. 46 pass attempts for Rattler. They were ugly, but 46 with 214 yards. So he was thrown out of necessity. They were trailing a lot of the game, and new coach out there, completely blanking on his name right now, but we know that he's a pass heavy kind of guy. He likes to mix up the offense. He doesn't want to just be keep everything safe. Kellen Moore, thank you. Goodness. So I think that we're going to see more of this out of Rattler. I don't think he's going to really facilitate anything. I think it's going to be very much what we saw week 1. So in a little bit softer matchups, it should be more promising, and we'll kind of see this offense evolve. I feel like Rattler's still getting comfortable in the NFL, and I'm hoping with Moore and this new play calling scheme that it does improve in New Orleans. But if we can see, like I said, 11 targets for Juwan Johnson and 76 yards, that's more than enough in the tight end landscape, especially with 2 of our top options now dealing with injury. If you're looking for a plug, Juwan Johnson's a good stopgap to just kind of keep you afloat. He's not gonna like win you weeks. He's not gonna be anything just mind blowing, but he's gonna be steady Eddie. Just like Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry, 8 targets. We saw it last year too with Drake May. Just one of those guys that, again, just very consistent. Henry didn't really have the yardage this week. He was what did he have? What did he finish with? Hunter Henry finished 4 for 8 with 66 yards. So again, not bad. That's 10 fantasy points right there from a tight end you're getting off the waiver wire. That's all that you really can hope for there if you're not taking the big swings. And I mean, 8 targets. That tied for the most on the team. Another team that kind of spread the ball around quite a bit. We had Boutte with 8. We had Hunter Henry with 8. We had Diggs with 7, and Travion Henderson with 6. So really, again, just short stuff, keeping it close. And Hunter Henry only benefits from that type of game plan. I think they're going to start to open it up some more as the year goes on. But Henry is just one of those safe guys, again, in these mean tight end streets, that he's going to have the safety floor of 8 to 10 points for you, especially in PPR leagues. So if you're hurting at tight end, those are the 4 guys I'm going for. I'm swinging high with Harold Fannin. And then I'm also looking at Brenton Strange for the upside. And I'm also, if I'm just looking for safe targets that I know are going to, like, there's going to be 8 to 10 targets a week, it's going to be Hunter Henry. It's going to be Juwan Johnson. That's where I'm at with the tight ends. We still have some injury news going through. Drake London, dealing with a shoulder injury, kind of got pulled out on the second to last drive, and still waiting for the severity of that as well. Twitter docs are suggesting that there may not be any time missed, but obviously he would be playing with a brace, and we could just see some type of decrease in his efficiency, in his production because of it. There's also the re-injury risk. If you're getting hit on a hurt shoulder, it's only going to get more hurt. So that's disappointing because, I mean, 15 targets. So like 15 of the most disappointing targets for Drake London, but 15 targets. That's exactly what you drafted Drake London for, was just mind-blowing target share and mind-blowing targets in general. And that's what we got already. So if he's out there, you're starting him. But if London does miss time, another interesting tight end here, Kyle Pitts, on that final drive. That's pretty much where all of his production came from. Penix was looking his direction, and honestly, can you blame him? Who else is out there? Ray McLeod. It's going to be, if London misses time, Kyle Pitts is an interesting start. I have Kyle Pitts in my main home league, and if London misses time, I'm not looking to make a change there. I think I want to see what the offense looks like with an injured London. And I think Pitts is going to become a little bit of a focal point there. But really, the main story is Bijan Robinson, just to the moon, man. That in the passing game work, the just dominance of the backfield. Like, Bijan Robinson is who we thought he is. He is going to make a huge push for the RB1 overall this season. I think he's got a great shot at it. If week 1 indicates anything, he's got a real good shot at it. This offense looks better, obviously, than Kirk Cousins, and obviously the 3 games that Penix got thrown in for, it looks a lot better. But I think they're missing the weapons. Not having London at the end of the game hurt, not having Mooney hurt. So I think once everyone comes back, this offense will be a lot more efficient. They'll be chucking a lot more, and we'll see more points. Another shoulder injury in wide receiver land. We saw it on the Friday night game. Xavier Worthy taken out by Travis Kelce, dislocated his shoulder. That is confirmed. What is not confirmed is what's going to happen with him. Right now, Andy Reid stated they're on the wait and see path. They want to see how he feels. He's getting multiple opinions on the shoulder. So I've seen everything from he could have surgery and be done for the year. He could wear a brace and play through it. So really, we just got to keep an eye on the practice reports. We got to keep listening and watching to see what happens and what they say is going to happen with Xavier Worthy in Kansas City. And I really think that we saw with Worthy out that Mahomes locked on to Hollywood Brown in that Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice position role. And I don't think that we're going to see that. Obviously, if Hollywood Brown is out there in your leagues, go get him, because 14 targets is absolutely absurd. But I think that we see a little bit of a shift in the game plan that they come in with. I think that this was just a necessity of Hollywood Brown plays the role that they were looking to hyper target and was the next man up in that Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice role. So I think that's the situation. But we could see Tyquan Thornton step up. We could see more Travis Kelce targets. We could see them shift more towards the run game with Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco. It really, I'm not sure what we're going to see out of Kansas City in week 2. It's something that I'm going to be keeping an eye on to really see, because we still got 4 or 5 more weeks until Rashee Rice is back and takes back over here. And who knows, we could see Xavier Worthy go back out there and still perform perfectly fine. Obviously, re-injury risk there as well, and a little bit of a ceiling cap with the efficiency, because those shoulder injuries, it always affects the wide receiver. They can't go up as well to get the ball. So it's something that I'm nervous on for Worthy in general. But Hollywood is the wide receiver that I'm looking to backfill there. And also, I don't mind taking shots on like a Tyquan Thornton in that situation in your deeper leagues. Excuse me, sorry about that. In terms of the Juju Smith-Schuster is also a guy that could see some targets. We've seen him have a couple games in Kansas City where he was hyper targeted. So a guy within Kansas City that could step up and fill that role. But Hollywood seems to be the guy. Tyquan Thornton was also getting some decent looks. But in terms of the waiver wire, who I'm looking to replace these guys or just have a backup plan again for a Drake London or a replacement for Xavier Worthy, up first is going to be my top priority on the wide receiver list. It's Quentin Johnston. I talked about him very early on, and I feel like everyone poo-pooed on it and said, oh, Trey Harris. I don't, obviously, I quieted down and I was like, okay, maybe it's Trey Harris. He signed his contract. He, explosive rookie. But Quentin Johnston looked good. I mean, this could just be Sammy Watkins all over again, where the dude that fools us, fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times type guy. It could just be the 1 week wonder here. But if the Chargers are going to be passing like they did in that Kansas City game, I don't care if it's Sammy Watkins-esque. I want the shot at it, because it's just it was the 3 guys. It was McConkey, Keenan, and QJ, and they were carving up Kansas City, and that's a crazy thing, because Kansas City's known to have a good defense. Obviously, like, there's turnover. Obviously, there's guys they can't keep with some big names on offense, but I think it's still a solid defense that they were carving up. And Herbert looks in his prime right now. He looks like he is feeling it. He was running. He was slinging the ball around. He looked good. Herbert looked good. I saw Jason put out a tweet about it's the Herbert MVP year. And honestly, if he's playing like that, it's the Herbert MVP year. Obviously, I was talking about Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, but with the Sunday night game, because it's fresh in their minds. But I think that what Herbert did against this Kansas City defense was impressive. And I think that if the offense stays like this, like where it's pass first, and that offensive line doesn't make too much room for Omarion Hampton and the non-existent Najee Harris, like it's wheels all the way up for all 3 of these guys in the passing game. Like I think that Quentin Johnston, Keenan Allen, and Ladd McConkey, all 3 can put up weekly, like, high ceiling fantasy performances, and that's what I want a piece of. I want that kind of upside there. And again, like if they're passing like this in neutral situations where they're burning clock by throwing the ball, that's telling right there. That's telling where they trusted Justin Herbert to move the chains and keep the ball off the ground, and that speaks volumes right there. So Quentin Johnston is a top priority add. I'm not blowing the bank on any wide receiver, especially not Quentin Johnston, who could just be Sammy Watkins 2.0. But I definitely think that it's worth the shot. I'd be looking for him there on any team, really. Turn your bottom of the roster, grab a QJ. Another guy who's in a kind of similar situation, just on a lesser offense, is Kayshon Boutte. He saw the most targets on the Patriots, as I talked about. My only fear with Boutte is he was an elite prospect. Dealt with some off the field stuff, dealt with some injuries, dealt with a whole lot of stuff that really pushed him down. He fell to New England and didn't really do much last year. He had, again, some flashes. And I think that he is a good wide receiver, but I also think that he might be benefiting right now from the fact that Stephon Diggs is still returning from an ACL, and Diggs only had 1 less target. So Drake May spread it out quite a bit. And I fear for this offense in general, in terms of fantasy football, of what that means for people. It could just be a gross game of roulette where you spin the wheel, and it could be a Diggs week, it could be a Boutte week, it could be a Travion Henderson week, or it could be the grossest of them all, a Hunter Henry week. So he's more of a speculation ad for me. I'm not looking to start him and plug him as I would with a QJ. But if you're in dire straits, Boutte is definitely, with 8 targets, is you could do a lot worse, and he's out there on waiver wires everywhere. So go scoop him up as a speculation ad. Start him if you absolutely have to in your deeper leagues. But that's really who I'm looking to in the wide receiver world. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more shows out there that go more in depth on the waiver wire, but those are my top tight end and my top wide receiver guys that I'm gunning for on the waiver wire to replace these injured guys and just have contingency plans out there. A couple more pieces of news here. Russell Wilson is confirmed and will still be starting as the New York Giants quarterback for week 2. We already have whispers of Jackson Dart coming in and taking over, and honestly, that's great for fantasy. Dart looked great in preseason. I didn't think it would happen as soon as week 2, but the fact that the whispers are already building up, and Dayball right now dude's fighting for his job. He's looked bad now with 3 quarterbacks. Obviously, the Giants last year didn't have a serviceable backup to Daniel Jones once they shipped him out. But the fact that they brought in Russell Wilson, they have Jameis Winston. These guys have been good enough on other teams, or serviceable, I would say. Like, obviously, Russell Wilson, probably the biggest fraud in the NFL. Like, his Super Bowl, like, I truly can't believe how much of that actually was Pete Carroll, because usually I'm like, the coach doesn't make the player. The player, helps the coach shine. But Jesus, look at Russell Wilson's career after Pete Carroll left, after Seattle. Like, Denver, atrocious. Pittsburgh, not good enough to even get re-signed. And now a disgusting start, 0-1 in New York that he just looked bad in. We could see Dart very soon. It could be week 4 or 5 that we see him. Like I said, the whispers are already starting. And a spark at QB could be what saves New York here. And it could just save the fantasy options. Neighbors, 12 targets, so you're not worried about Neighbors in terms of the volume. But obviously, you want a quarterback that makes the team feel alive in general. And right now, Mr. Unlimited is not it. Jackson Dart is young. He's exciting. He's a gunslinger who wants to go out there and make a play. And I think that might just be best for the New York Giants. I think it's another lost year for them already. We're here week 1, and I'm saying that. Another lost year for the New York Giants, but I think that Dart might be an answer. He might not be the answer, but he's an answer for them here. And the last little bit of news that I got actually broke on Monday. Tank Bigsby is out in Jacksonville. I feel like I got a ton of Jacksonville talk today, and that's weird. Did not expect that, but here we are. Tank Bigsby out in Jacksonville, traded to the Philadelphia Eagles for, I think I saw, a 5th and a 6th round pick. So not nothing, but not anything huge. Travis Etienne, just to the moon. Good. He's back. He's the bell cow. It's not how I expected him to get here. I thought that Etienne was the running back on the trade block, but he ran all over Carolina. Bigsby didn't get hardly any touches until the game was already out of hand. Like, he got the garbage time stuff. And he really, Tootin even got 3 carries to Bigsby's 5. So it was Etienne. Etienne is the bell cow back. And I think that Tootin's a big upper in Dynasty. He was already kind of he blew up. And I feel like the Bigsby Etienne talk kind of brought him back down. But I think that he's back up again as the number 2 running back in this offense. I think that it's Etienne bell cow season right now. So Tootin is just more of a breather back. I don't think that he's a handcuff plus. I think he's just a pure handcuff right now. But still, I'm not taking too much stock in the fact that Jacksonville's run game's back, because it was Carolina. We saw last season the easiest offense or defense to run against was Carolina. So not really thinking that it was Etienne, but still he went out there, he performed, he did what he had to do against this weak defense. So 140 something rushing yards is great to see. And I think that, again, I talked about, I think that Jacksonville wants to be a pass heavy offense. And I think that's why they want Etienne as the bell cow, because he's a pass catching back. He's able to do it in both both phases of the offense where he can run the ball, he can catch the ball. He just gives them a lot more versatility, where Bigsby was known for not being able to catch the ball. He wasn't a pass catcher anywhere. So I think that Tootin and Etienne are just a better fit for what Jacksonville seems like they want to do. And I expect a lot more passing in more neutral game scripts here from Jacksonville. I think to see a lot more competitive games. We'll see a lot more out of Trevor Lawrence here. I think that this is really the make or break year, and they want to see what Lawrence has. That's all that I got for the news. Again, I'm going to be going into some situations that I was looking at, and some things where I'm taking some of these like indicators and some of these things very serious to begin. Like immediately, I'm like, I'm bought into this offense. I'm bought into this opportunity share, and I'm jumping on it for my week 2 lineups, for my start sits, for my DFS. I'm jumping in those. There's some situations where offenses looked bad in week 1, and I'm not panicking quite yet, but definitely concerned. Definitely going to cool my my takes on some of these offenses here. And then there's one offense that it's a dumpster fire. I'm out. I want nothing to do with nothing with one of these offenses, but going to jump into that. But first, going to pass it over to the Podfather. Again, the quick 6 super slam is out there. You pick 6 players. You don't even have to do a draft. You pick 6 players. And this week, if you pick chalk, you had a rough time. But if you got a little spicy, if you had a little bit of fun with it, and you pick some 6 guys that maybe weren't the highest rostered percentage, you could have walked away with some money. Come back with some of this information week 2, do the same thing. Find those guys that you just got the good feeling about that are going to hit. Find the good matchups that we can see. We got 1 week of data, small sample, but it's 1 week of data. Find those good guys, go pick them, and go do the quick 6 super slam over on Fast Draft. Going to pass it over to the Podfather here to go over that real quick.
Pour one out for an incredible best ball season. It was a breakout 2025 for Fast Draft, but now the NFL action has started. That means it's DFS season. That's right. You might think, oh, wow, DFS, I can't win DFS. Oh, but you can on Fast Draft. You just pick any 6 guys, and you put them in a handful of booster spots. There's no salary rubric you have to follow. You're not going up against thousands of killer bots in these tournaments. Oh, no. These are regular people grabbing their 6 favorite plays of the week, and that's all you have to do. And we post the ownership so that you can choose how much chalk you want. There is no drafting. It's called the Quick 6 Super Slam. The Quick 6 Super Slam is the signature DFS contest at Fast Draft. It is changing DFS. We are making DFS great again. So go to fastdraft.app and use your host promo code for a $50 deposit match. And let's go start drafting faster.
Again, use code JOwensFF on Fast Draft if you're going to be getting into them DFS streets out there. My favorite DFS contest is just, it's easy, it's quick. You're in, you're out. Use code JOwensFF for a $50 deposit match over there. And we're going to jump right into the next segment here. Are we sounding the alarm? Are we panicking? Are we jumping to some crazy conclusions on week 1? Again, I got a couple here where I'm jumping off the cliff. I'm going there for the positive stuff. I'm jumping head first in, because you know what? I like to see good things happen. I like to see fantasy points scored. And starting off, Bill Krosky Merritt, he's here. I mean, I think he was well worth the hype that he garnered. We saw right before the game, Chris Rodriguez, a healthy scratch, inactive. So that was a very big indicator. I have in my Scott Fishbowl team, and I immediately was like, let me swap him in real quick, because I want a piece of Bill right now. And he did not disappoint. I mean, he got the touchdown, 10 for 82 on the ground with the touchdown. And I think that the offensive share snap split wasn't as bad as I expected. It was a little bit of a 3-headed monster, but with Jeremy McNichols compared to Chris Rodriguez, that was originally expected and what was talked about a lot. We did see, in terms of snaps, Eckler led the backfield. We all knew that was going to happen, especially week 1. 49% of the snaps. He got 21% of the carries, and he ran 54% of the routes. So almost exactly what we expected out of Eckler. Was heavy in the passing game, heavy in the 2-minute offense. going to be the number one back out there for the Washington Commanders. But the promising thing was week 1, late round rookie running back. We saw 29% snap share out of Bill. 36% of the rushes, had the most rushing opportunities out of the running backs, and he still ran a route on 19% of the routes. So he wasn't dead in the water when it came to the passing game. He was out there. Obviously, again, Eckler's that dude when it comes to the passing game. That's what he's there for. That is his specialty. And then McNichols, as the third head of this monster, only 14% of the snaps, 14% of the rushes, and 14% of the routes. So McNichols was mixing in there. So if anything does happen to McNichols or Eckler, obviously I think Chris Rodriguez introduces himself into this three-way backfield. But it's very promising to see week 1, a guy like Bill Krosky-Merritt getting 36% of the rushes, the most rushes out of the running backs, and 82 yards and a touchdown against the Giants defense, which isn't bad. They're not, they should not be slept on. They're not an elite defense, but they're definitely more stout than they get credit for. They're just kind of stuck in a bad situation with a bad offense. But I definitely think that Bill's role is going to increase as the season goes on. He's that type of guy that you see it start here at 29% snap share, and then it's going to get closer to 30% next week, I'm calling, and then it's going to get closer to 40%. And all of a sudden, this three-headed monster turns into a 1-2 punch with Bill Krosky being the between the tackles kind of guy, first and second down kind of guy, and then Eckler's got his role. Eckler's got the third down role. He's got the 2-minute drill. So yeah, those are important high value touches, but there wasn't any goal line work to really get that feel. There was I saw all of my like snap share percentages and all of that I'm getting from Dwayne McFarland over from Fantasy Life. He had a great set of posts on Twitter about it. That's where I'm getting my information from. And he had a little blurb stating that Washington only had one carry within the 5, and it went to McNichols. So that is a little bit concerning that it wasn't Bill Krosky. It kind of makes him have to be a home run hitter to pay off. But I think that we could see, as the season goes on, it really could just become a 1-2 punch, and McNichols and Rodriguez are just kind of afterthoughts, and Bill can develop into a goal line back and really pay off at his ADP and just be an every week starter in fantasy football. That's what I'm hoping for. Obviously, you never know. It's week 1, but the initial week 1 usage is very, very promising. And again, with these rookies, especially rookie running backs, you always just see it increase incrementally week by week. I don't think he fully takes over this backfield without an injury, but I definitely think that he pushes for a 50-50 split with Eckler here at some point. Talking about nothing but running backs in this in the green light section here, Breece Hall for the New York Jets was a bell cow. I mean, we heard all off season Braylon Allen is going to take some value touches. He's going to be a guy that is a thorn in Breece Hall's side and really just kind of limit his upside. But we did not see that in week 1. And I mean, if it wasn't for Baltimore and Buffalo, I think that the New York Jets Pittsburgh Steelers game was game of the week. They completely smashed the over. They were going back and forth. It was an entertaining game. It was wild to see. It was not like the most conventional way for this to go down, with Rodgers throwing 4 touchdowns and Fields and the Jets in general just running all over the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was weird. It was weird, but it was exciting. And I mean, there was a lot of promising things that came out of the New York offense in terms of consolidation. Fields got his. He got his 2 rushing touchdowns. Did he throw a touchdown? We saw Fields get his through. Yeah, he did throw a touchdown to Garrett Wilson. A beautiful pass. I remember it now. Yes, a great pass to Garrett Wilson. But again, we saw the consolidation. We knew Garrett Wilson was the passing offense. We knew that. But we expected to see a little bit of a split in terms of the running back, and it was all Breece Hall. He had 23 opportunities compared to 6 for Allen and 2 for Isaiah Davis. So 23-8 for the backup running backs. That's that's bell cow status right there. I don't care what anyone says. And Justin Fields obviously took rushing opportunities out of this offense with his 12 carries, 2 touchdowns there. So I think the ceiling might be a little bit capped with Breece Hall, just for the fact that even in the red zone, the QB naked boot rushing touchdown is very much in play every single time with Justin Fields. And the 1 yard goal line plunge went to Braylon Allen. So I think that Breece Hall is going to be lacking in touchdowns this year, but the usage outside of that is insane. And for where he was going in drafts, that's perfectly fine. That's a wide receiver 2 flex spot every single week with that kind of usage. And I mean, Breece Hall, he's not this slow lumbering kind of guy. He's dealt with the knee injuries, but he can take any carry to the house. He's got the wheels, he's got the shiftiness to take something from down deep for a touchdown. So I don't think that the touchdowns will be non-existent. I just don't think they will be that's his ceiling cap right there, is the fact that Braylon Allen is the goal line plunger and Justin Fields has the opportunity to take 2 touchdowns a game out of the rushing game. So I'm very much in on Breece Hall. I think that this was amazing. I was all over Braylon Allen thinking that it was going to be a 50-50 split, but here we are week 1 and I'm completely shifting on that with what we saw here. Breece Hall, bell cow season, it's back on. Again, ceiling's capped. I don't think he's got the running back 1 upside. I think he's just a very consistent running back 2 with this usage in this offense here. Last green light situation that I got is going to be the Cleveland Browns rookie running backs. I want both these guys. I vehemently disagreed with Jason on our sleeper episode when he said that Judkins is worth the shot as league winner status. I was like, yeah, but when's he going to sign the contract? Like, we don't even know when he's going to sign the contract. We don't even know if he's going to get suspended. We don't know anything about Judkins. And then all of a sudden, right before week 1, Judkins signs fully guaranteed deal, talking with the NFL about any type of punishment. And there's no word right now. Obviously, we're still waiting on that, but he's with the team. He could be ready week 2. And this Cleveland Browns backfield needed help. Jerome Ford looked god awful. It was very much Dylan Sampson coming in and taking over in the second half. Like, Jerome Ford, 6 carries for 8 yards and a negative screen pass. Like, Ford's cooked. He's done. Raheem Sanders came in for the goal line dive and got the only touchdown for the Cleveland Browns rushing game. And that, so it's gross in the Cleveland running back streets, but there are 2 bright spots here, and it's Dylan Sampson in the passing game. He had 8 targets, 64 yards, caught all 8 passes. So I think that he has effectively carved out his role in this offense. I think that Dylan Sampson is very much worth a grab in your fantasy football leagues because, again, 45 passes from Joe Flacco, I don't think that is going to come down very much, even with Judkins coming back. And if Dylan Sampson is out there for 2-minute drill, if he's out there in third down packages, he's going to get his targets. He's going to be someone that is a bit of a handcuff plus type situation that we see. And Judkins could come in. He's obviously much better than Jerome Ford, much better than Raheem Sanders. And I think that he's going to be a lot more efficient on the ground than Dylan Sampson was, who went 12 for 29. Gross. Again, there was just nothing there for him to work with outside of the passing game. But I think Judkins comes in and provides a reliable option in this backfield. So I think we're going to see a little bit of a 1-2 punch here in Cleveland. Judkins on first and second down, and then Sampson on third down. Judkins could catch the ball, but I think that with this performance from Sampson, he's just kind of locked himself in as the pass catching back. I think they might leave Judkins in there on occasion, but I really think that Sampson has just put his stamp down on this backfield, saying I'm your pass catcher. You swing the ball to me, you put me out there, and I'm swinging around the edge every time. So I want both these guys. I think that both have value. I think that, again, we're going to see the points from Cleveland. A little bit of a rough start in week 1, but 45 pass attempts is just, you can't ignore that. And I want that. I want offenses that are running a crazy amount of plays. I mean, 45 pass attempts. What's this? 15, 21 carries, so that's 60 plus plays in a game. Yeah. I want that. I want those offenses that are running plays like crazy. On the flip side of this game, I'm going to be going to a little bit of, these are my, I'm not panicking yet, but there's obvious concern here for some of these offenses that had just abysmal week ones. They just looked bad. And Cincinnati is at the top of this list, where I'm not panicking. I feel like this is just kind of par for the course with Cincinnati. They went into Cleveland. They still pulled out the win, which is not what they did last year. And they just, they did it weirdly enough with defense, which isn't really the MO for the Bengals, but I think that's more on the Cleveland Browns than it is propping up the Bengals defense. But what was surprising was just how bad and how little volume and work there was in the passing game from Joe Burrow. Only 23 pass attempts from Burrow, which, what? In a game that was close the whole time, that they could have been airing it out. They leaned heavily on Chase Brown, who had 21 carries, 43 yards. So that was gross. It was a really gross one over in Cleveland's, but Chase Brown, an absolute workhorse back, and I expect this offense to rebound a bit. I expect the passing game to open back up a bit to really make these numbers look better. Obviously 21 for 43 is disgusting, but 21 is nice, and 3 targets in the passing game. He did get a touchdown, so he didn't completely ruin your week with a gross stat line. But Burrow did, Chase did, and T. Higgins all did. Chase 2 for 5 for 26, T. Higgins 3 for 4 for 33. And again, I said Burrow, only 23 pass attempts, 113 yards, and 1 touchdown to a tight end, to Noah Fant, not even Mike Gesicki. So this offense is definitely something that I'm looking out for in week 2 to please go back to the 2024 Bengals, where you are just lighting up the scoreboard. I need to see it. We get a good matchup in week 2 to really kind of be the litmus test. Jacksonville Jaguars, a team that I think, again, is going to be pass heavy. Their defense shut down Carolina, but that's not saying much because Carolina just looked like they were shutting themselves down for the most part. So we'll get a better test here in week 2 for the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm hoping to see some life here. I don't need to see 50 points, but I would like to see 28 to 30 something points here from the Bengals, and just more efficiency. They looked pretty gross. So something that I'm keeping an eye on. Again, not full panic. I'm not trying to dump Chase. I'm not trying to dump Higgins. I'm not trying to dump any of these guys. I'm getting a little sweaty thinking about, if this continues, what are we looking at here? But this is really on my panic meter. This is the lowest offense that I'm panicking on out of the 4 that I'm talking about today. I'm not running out to a fire sale. I'm not panicking, not freaking out here. Just something that I'm keeping an eye on. And if a trend appears, I'll be acting before it's too late. Detroit Lions. This one is near and dear to my heart in the worst way possible. They looked bad. The offensive line didn't hold for Goff for anything, and the play calling was just unimaginative garbage. We saw nothing but screens, pop screens, running back swing screens, the same 5-yard curl on every single play. And as a fan, I wanted to puke. I wanted to turn the game off. I was done. From the second quarter, I saw, once we were running the same trash plays over and over and over again, there was no crossers, there was no deep shots, there was nothing past 10 yards until the fourth quarter. It was bad. It was gross. We heard all of this talk about pushing the ball downfield with this offense, with this new offensive coordinator. He wants to keep pushing the ball downfield. He's not afraid to do that. And we saw none of that. The deepest completions were to Sam Laporta across the middle. And again, those were kind of garbage timey plays. The only touchdown that Detroit got was in their last drive to Isaac Tesla on a jump ball. And again, it was pure garbage time. Like this team was garbage. It was bad. It was a bad watch. It was a bad offense. And I'm very, very much worried here. Again, I'm a little bit biased as a Lions fan, but it's not promising at all to see the first game with the new coordinators and just to come out completely flat against division rival Green Bay Packers. Like, I get it. Like, the Packers aren't a bad team. The whole NFC North is pretty solid overall. And I'm scared for Detroit. I like, again, like, I need to see, like, with the Bengals, they looked sloppy, but they didn't look like they were just playing a completely different game. The Lions, again, they were so used to the Ben Johnson offense of pushing the ball down the field and like just creativity all around. And we saw no creativity. We saw just nothing but short dink and dunk, just bad garbage. If that's what we see again in week 2, I'm full blown panicking. I'm scared. I'm out. Jameson Williams is just done in that situation. They didn't run him down the field one time. There was no crossers with Jameson Williams. It was literally, like I said, 5-yard curls, 5-yard hitches every single time. And that's not Jameson Williams' game. That's like Amon-Ra can do that because he's Amon-Ra, but that Jameson is best getting him in space. And if you're having him turn around every 5 yards to stop and have no momentum going, it's not going to work. So the Jameson Williams contract and breakout might be just dead in the water before it even gets started because of just how bad this offensive play calling is. So I'm hoping to see a turnaround in week 2. I really hope that that week 1 was a punch in the mouth that wakes up the play callers, that wakes up the offense in general, because the fantasy football world needs it. I need it. The last offense that I'm going to talk about here, and this one's a little bit higher on the panic rating compared to the Lions, just because we know that they've had their issues, is the Houston Texans. I talked about them on Thursday of who is going to be the number 2 target behind Nico Collins, and the answer was nobody. The ball got spread around quite a bit. Even Nico Collins didn't get a ton of targets and didn't look great. And that was mostly because of the fact that CJ Stroud had no time to throw. We knew the offensive line was an issue. We knew that they were just a very, very much Swiss cheese offensive line, and it showed in full effect here. I'm not full panic yet. This isn't like I'm dumping and running away. But I really don't think that you can have much weight in this Houston Texans offense outside of Nico Collins and Nick Chubb right now, at least until Christian Kirk comes back or they figure things out. Again, I think that this Rams defense is better than they're getting credit for. They're one of those defenses that they're young, so I feel like they're undervalued and underestimated, but they're a stout group out there. And they came out and showed out in week 1 against Houston and really just strangled, sucked the air out of the offense. There was nothing there for Stroud to really do. Under 200 yards for him as well, an interception and no touchdowns. A lone bright spot was Nick Chubb. He had 13 carries, which led the team by a lot. Ogunbowale had 2 carries, Damian Pierce 3 carries, and Woody Marks 3 carries. So it was Nick Chubb. They said that they wanted to feed him, and they fed him as much as they could in this ugly game. So 13 for 60, that's solid for Chubb. I think that if this offense does get it figured out, Chubb will have weekly relevance, ceiling TBD, but with leading the backfield with that many carries, that makes him very much a safe flex play, especially once we get to like bye weeks and things like that. Nick Chubb is definitely someone that I'd be looking to plug in there. Again, not great, not bad. The tight ends were the primary targets. Those short passes were the primary targets for CJ Stroud. So I think that if Christian Kirk can come back in week 2, he's going to just take right back over. I put out a TikTok talking about Jalen Noel as someone to go stash because he's going to be the Christian Kirk replacement. And he went out, he got 2 targets. And everyone else kind of had 2-3 targets out there outside of Nico Collins, Hutchinson, 2 targets, Jaden Higgins, 3 targets, Justin Watson, 2 targets, Jalen Noel, 2 targets. So it was just a gross game. Dalton Schultz, 5 targets, but he also split with Cade Stover, who had 4 targets. So I just really think that this offense is going to, if they do get it figured out, they're going to consolidate around Chubb, Nico, and Christian Kirk when he comes back. So all of these ancillary pieces, feel free to churn them off your roster. Higgins doesn't seem to be it unless there's a Nico injury. Jalen Noel had the opportunity there for him. The role was wide open and he couldn't quite figure it out. So not someone that I'm looking to hold on to there, immediately churning, going for the next guy, looking for a QJ, looking for a Boutte, looking for guys like that to replace him. And Dalton Schultz, just not worth it. If he's not even going to have separation between him and Cade Stover, it's done. Dalton Schultz is just kick him to the curb if you did pick him up in hopes that the opportunity would be there. It was, nothing happened. So again, Houston offense, probably who I'm the most worried about out of these three offenses that I talked about, where I'm watching week 2 with bated breath, hoping for a turnaround, hoping to see some spark, hoping to see some positive traction here to get these big time fantasy options going. I mean, there's three wide receivers that went in the first round on these offenses. And I mean, we know that the Bengals were projected to be one of the most explosive offenses out there. They come out sputtering. Hopefully they turn it around. Lions, we expected a bit of regression due to the fact that they lost Ben Johnson, but didn't expect to see that. So Amon-Ra, definitely a concern. Jameson Williams, a concern. Jahmyr Gibbs, just he can take any touch to the house, but if he's just getting nothing but a screen pass in the backfield and getting immediately hit, it ain't gonna happen. And then in Houston with Nico Collins, just again 5 targets for Nico and just no time to get the downfield stuff. So that's a big concern for Nico as well. So big time fantasy names, big time concerns that I'm not sounding the alarm, not running to worst case scenario right now, but I am definitely watching very closely week 2 to see improvement. And if there isn't, then I'm starting to put out some feelers and try and, like, if I got to sell low, I'll sell low on some of these guys right now before it's too late. I do have one last offense I want to talk about that is just the dumpster fire of the NFL right now. And it's the Miami Dolphins. Like, that was bad. That was bad. Tua looked completely lost. I get it. Indianapolis improved their offense or their defense. But I don't care how much they improve their defense. They're not an elite defense. They're not the Denver Broncos out there. And we saw Miami just look incompetent. Achane salvaged his day with a touchdown in the passing game, but he only had 11 touches, which for Achane, that's all he needs. But everything else, like with everything else on this team, you can't bank on to get bailed out by a random touchdown when they can't even move the ball. Jalen Waddle left the game in the mid, I think in the second or third quarter with a shoulder injury. He made it back out there, but if Waddle's already dealing with his on the field off again issues, that's a problem for everyone involved. Because if this offense can't move the ball, if they don't have options, they're dead in the water. No pun intended there with the Miami Dolphins. Tyreek mad on the sideline, unsurprisingly. He was mad in the preseason, came in salty. Tua was salty towards him, and I mean, Tua just looked bad. Tua had 3 turnovers, got replaced by Zach Wilson in a blowout to the Indianapolis Colts. The Danny Dimes-led Indianapolis Colts blew them out of the water. It was bad. It's looking bleak in Miami, and we knew that this was a risk with the wheels falling off this team and this offense in general. But it's another situation where I didn't expect it this early. I did not expect the turmoil this early. That was a bad performance all around, and I did stay away from Miami quite a bit. I liked Ollie Gordon, but if the offense is gonna be looking this bad, I don't care who the primary back is. It's not gonna matter. Especially with Achane still being out there, it's looking real bleak. I'm off Miami until I see something else. It just, even like the coaches, even McDaniel in press conferences, like he's got the same shtick, but that shtick was good when you were winning games, when you were putting up points, and you were given some slack, but that slack is getting real tight. It's not really existent anymore. So you can't really just be status quo, goofy guy with your sarcastic quips when you need to be providing answers. You need to do something with this offense. And I'm panicking. Week one full tilt on the Miami Dolphins defense here. bail while you can. But that's all that I got today, guys. Again, I apologize for the fact that I'm not going to be live, that I'm not going to be able to take your questions live. It's something that I really wanted to pride myself on, was doing it, but the schedule this week just did not allow, unfortunately. So again, I'll be back next Tuesday live. I still have the Tuesday show coming out tomorrow, and I have the Thursday show that will be coming out. I'll just be pre-recording those two shows, but I'm back Tuesday, September 16th. I will be back live to answer your guys' questions. I appreciate anyone that is tuning in right now, and make sure that you, again, are following me on Twitter, on TikTok at JOwensFF. Make sure you're following the Player Profiler Now page and the Player Profiler main page on Twitter and YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed and liking the videos. And I appreciate you guys. I will catch you guys on Thursday.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to PlayerProfiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, Data Analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.